All right, let's talk about Tor. Chances are what you think you know about it is probably wrong. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and get to the real story behind one of the internet's most misunderstood tools.
So, if I say the word Tor, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Seriously. For a lot of folks, it's something straight out of a spy movie, right? You're picturing hackers in hoodies, secret online black markets, the whole digital underground scene?
Yeah, and that's because for years, the media has basically hammered home one single idea. Tor equals the dark web. It's just the go-to connection everyone makes. But here's the thing. What if that whole picture, that entire story we've been told, is just flat out wrong?
Let me throw a number at you. What if I told you that all that stuff that gets the headlines, all that shady activity, comes down to this one teeny tiny number, 3%? Just 3.
Yep, you heard that right. Only about 3% of all the traffic on the entire Tor network is actually pointed at those hidden .onion sites, the so-called dark web. So that begs a pretty big question, doesn't it? If 97% of the activity isn't that, then what on earth is it? And maybe even more important, who are all these people using it?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into first. Who really uses Tor? And let me tell you, the answer is probably not what you're expecting. It's this surprisingly big, diverse global community.
Okay, let's just start with the sheer scale of this thing. Every single day, about 2.5 million people use the Tor network. I mean, think about that. That's the population of a major city using this tool every day. And here's the kicker. The huge majority of them, they're not doing anything sketchy. They're just browsing the regular web. You know, the same internet you and I use every day to read the news, check social media, do some research. They're just doing it with an extra layer of privacy and anonymity.
And this, right here, this is the core of the whole misunderstanding. The myth that's been sold to us is that Tor is for criminals. Simple as that. But the reality? Oh, it's way different. It's actually a super important tool for millions of people who just want some basic privacy. It's used by journalists trying to protect their sources, and it's a lifeline for people living under censorship.
And if you look at where these users are, it's pretty eye-opening. The top 2 countries, the United States and Germany. Kind of surprising, right? But then you also see these huge numbers of users in places like Russia. And that points directly to Tor's other massive purpose, getting around government censorship.
So who are they? Well, if we look at the demographics, the community right now skews pretty heavily male, about 75%. It's just a quick snapshot of who's using it today.
And if you need any more proof that the need for privacy has gone mainstream, get this. Even Facebook, I mean, come on, the pillar of the public internet, they actually set up their own special gateway for Tor users. Why? So people could access their platform privately. And back in 2016, over 1 million people a month were doing just that, checking Facebook without being tracked.
Okay, so how does all this magic actually work? How does it make you anonymous? Let's pop the hood and take a quick look at how the network is built.
It's actually a really clever system, and it's called onion routing for a reason. Think of an onion with all its layers. Tor wraps your internet traffic in multiple layers of encryption. Then, it sends it on a little 3-stop journey. First, it enters the network through a random computer called a guard relay. Then, it gets bounced through another random middle relay. And, finally, it leaves from a third random computer, the exit relay. So the website you're visiting? It only ever sees the address of that last computer. Your real location is completely hidden.
And what makes this global game of digital hide-and-seek even possible? Well, it's this huge network of about 8,000 of these relays. They're scattered all over the world, and they're run by a group of people that might really surprise you.
Yeah, this isn't some Google or Amazon server farm. The entire Tor network is powered by thousands of volunteers. We're talking about privacy advocates, universities, and just regular folks who donate a little bit of their own internet bandwidth to keep this whole thing running, to keep it alive and decentralized.
But this amazing volunteer-run network, it does a lot more than just protect your personal privacy. It's also a seriously powerful tool in the global fight against censorship.
And to really get a sense of its impact, you just need to keep one number in your head: 14.
That's how many countries there are where people depend on Tor to get around government firewalls, to access information that their own leaders are trying to hide from them. You gotta understand, for people in these places, Tor isn't just some neat privacy tool, it is an absolute lifeline to the rest of the world.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture, because even if you don't live in one of those 14 countries, trust me, this whole story is still about you. Get this. A whopping 85% of adults across the globe say they want to do more to protect their privacy online. 85%! That means the desire for the kind of thing Tor offers, it's practically universal. And look, we're all already trying to take back a little bit of control, right? 39% of us use ad blockers, 36% use password managers, a smaller chunk, about 14%, use a paid VPN. Tor is just one more piece of that puzzle. It's part of this growing family of tools for people who are tired of having no say in how their data gets used. And maybe this is why that feeling is so strong. So many of us feel kind of resigned to it, you know? 62% of Americans believe it's literally impossible to go through daily life without companies collecting data on them. It feels hopeless. And tools like Tor, well, they're a direct answer to that feeling. They're an attempt to claw back a little bit of private space for ourselves online.
So, at the end of the day, the real story of Tor, it has almost nothing to do with the scary dark web. It's really a story about a global community. It's about the fight for freedom of information, and it's about a really deep, really human need for privacy. And all of that forces us to ask ourselves a much bigger question, doesn't it? In a world where we're being watched all the time, what is anonymity really worth?